Well, here's an updated look at the FedEx Cup standings for the Canadians. Hughes making the biggest move up to 41st. Corey Connors still leading the way at 7. Nick Taylor at 20. Taylor Pendrith at 39. While Hadwin, Svensson, and Silverman all looking to be a little more consistent this season on the PGA Tour. Now, speaking of consistency, guys, for Mackenzie Hughes, it's his second straight top 10 on the PGA Tour. But, Mark, he didn't have a top 10 in his first 9 starts this season. So my question to you, how does Mac get more consistent?
Well, I think he might have just found it, Adam. There's an old saying that I like to go back to because these guys are so good. Remove the top 10 to 20 players in the world. Everybody else on the PGA Tour is literally one swing thought away from potentially winning that week or the following week. And that's why it's so important if guys just make the cut. You want to get every swing out of your 72 holes because maybe that swing is the one where you find that thought, you find that feeling. And now here we are with Mackenzie Hughes. You look at his ball striking numbers this year, guys, it is hard to find a green category, green being positive. It is bright red on the negative side of strokes gained, on the negative side of all the stat categories pretty much with Mackenzie Hughes throughout this season. And now you look at these back-to-back starts and you see the progression in the ball striking. I'm not going to worry about the putting and the scrambling because you know that's going to be there. It's always there at the end of the year with a large sample size. He's going to be there. But finding a thought, finding something with your golf swing, maybe it's something you've been working on, or Bob, maybe it's just a feeling. But once you find it, Weeksy, you got to ride that wave, and I kind of feel like we're entering that wave right now with Mackenzie.
Yeah, his caddy, Julian Trudeau, will tell you that he sort of beats himself up, Mac Hughes. He always wants perfection, and that's a good sign. Obviously, you want to play better. You want to work harder. You always want to be at the best you can possibly be. And sometimes that sort of takes its toll, and a little bit when you get onto a string of bad finishes where it doesn't really take something out of you. And Mackenzie Hughes has this desire to be a very much more consistent golfer. I think every year at the end of the season when I talk to these guys, that's the one thing he always says, I always want to try and be more consistent. And yet every year he's not. He's one of these guys who goes ups and downs and ups and downs. And as you pointed out with some of those stats, Mark, some of them will turn around. His putting right now, he's 104th in strokes gained putting. He finished 3rd last year. I'm not worried about that part of it. If that driver starts to work like it did last week, then I think that's a good sign for Mac Hughes. And if he can get himself into a positive attitude and don't let a couple of bad shots get him down, I think that's a huge part of what he can do going forward. All sorts of parts of his game are working well. Maybe it's just the part up here that he needs to fine-tune just a little bit.
Yeah, we're all looking to see Mackenzie Hughes get a little more consistent, Bob, and I'm glad you mentioned those putting numbers. 3rd in strokes gained putting last year, 104th this year. That was one of the main reasons he was picked on the International President's Cup team. Now, guys, it's a great time to be covering golf in Canada because week in, week out, specifically on the PGA Tour, there seems to be a Canadian always lurking, always in the mix. We've seen a victory already this season by Nick Taylor at the Sony Open. So, Mark, my question to you, who's the next Canadian to win on the PGA Tour?
I'll just go with the hot hand. Let's just go with Mackenzie Hughes because, to be bluntly honest with you guys, I have absolutely no clue. Can Nick Taylor win at any given point? Yes. Could he also miss a cut at any given point? Yes. I mean, Pendrith was playing really well, still, showing consistency in a stretch from Taylor and maybe Pendrith's putter's coming back. Corey Connors needs to kind of get over that weekend hurdle, but, world-class ball striker. So, don't forget Adam Hadwin. I mean, anyone can win. Adam Svensson experimenting with a broom putter has me so curious and so interested that he could sweep in a victory, no pun. But I'll go with Mac if I got to pick one.
What do you think, Bob? Who's the next Canadian to win?
I think it could be 2 guys. I think it could be Taylor and Hadwin. They're playing together at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans this week at the team event. They've done really well on that in the past. Wouldn't that be kind of a great win for Team Canada? But if I'm going to pick one individual guy, I think it's Corey Connors because I think the weakest parts of his game around the greens and on the greens are not so weak anymore. And I think if he gets into a good mood and a good sort of session after session on the course, I think he could go a long way and maybe reel off a couple of wins. I think he's hungrier this year than I ever remember him in the past.
Corey Conners 5 top 10s on the season. Guys, as for me, I'll go with Nick Taylor. Has that win already this season at the Sony Open. He's also 11th on the PGA Tour in greens and regulation, so consistently getting in the mix a little more. I will go with Nick Taylor.